Hope everyone had a good weekend, right? Easter weekend. Hope you guys got to spend some time with your family members. Not a whole lot happened this weekend as far as news goes, but something big did happen. Something that made me happy and something that made me sad. And it's all the same news source. So before we get started, we'll just check out the cheat sheet that we have here of all the different topics that we're going to be talking about today. So first up, TSA Stops Mask Enforcement. That's going to be a pretty good one. Uber and Lyft follow suit, and I knew they would. They also dropped their mask enforcement. The Atlanta Rideshare shuttle, we're going to be talking a little bit about how other companies other than Uber and Lyft are popping up that also threaten Uber and Lyft drivers. We got 14 charged with luring and killing Lyft drivers. This is happening way more often. Not necessarily teenagers doing it, but it's becoming more and more a problem, and I think it'll get bigger as time goes on. We have some people, crazy people. I don't know how they did it. We're gonna find out how they did it. They stole $140,000 worth of fuel, and the way they did it is super creative, and it's gonna be interesting to look into. We have Tesla's full self-driving beta is coming to all Americans, and how that's gonna impact the rideshare community. Tesla stops including charging cables. They're following Apple. We're gonna discuss a little bit of that. A man dies after being trapped in a California car wash. Not the way I want to go, but I don't even know how one goes that way. We'll check that out too. We have a bunch of kindergartners who end up getting drunk at school. One of them took Jose Cuervo to school and then passed it along with his buddies. An interesting story, nonetheless. And then we have a TikToker who calls out Square for forcing customers into tipping. So we're going to be checking that out too. So let's get started, right? So TSA stops mask enforcement after federal judge voids mandate, right? So federal officials stopped enforcement of a federal mask mandate Monday in transportation after a federal judge struck down the requirement, raising public health concerns and prompting several airlines to announce that face coverings are optional on domestic flights. Now let's see who did this. Whose idea was this? So the U.S. District Judge, Catherine Kimball Mizzelli, who knows, of the Middle District, Florida, said that the mandate exceeds the statutory authority of the Center for Disease Control and Prevention. Federal officials last week had extended the mask mandate for commercial flights and in other settings, including buses, ferries, and subways, until at least May 3rd. So if you don't remember, Judge Catherine, she was appointed by Donald Trump, the youngest Supreme Court U.S. District Judge at age 33. So pretty young. She's making this decision, and this is the good and the bad, right? So we've been in lockdown for 2 years. COVID's been here for 2 years. That's a long time. And since then, we've made progress in medicine and progress in knowledge and how we deal with COVID, right? It's getting to the point where we've gone from pandemic, and now we're moving towards endemic, where more and more people want to live their life, and we know enough to protect ourselves as an individual. And at some point, right, this was gonna happen regardless. Maybe it's too soon, maybe it's too late. Don't really know, but I can confirm that my personal sentiments are that at some point, those who have issues with COVID are just gonna have to stay at home, right? You're gonna have to do more to protect yourself, because we can't keep asking other people to protect you, right? It's a little selfish, but I would say that generally speaking, the world has done a pretty good job of like chilling out, just waiting. But people are done chilling out. They want to go out, they want to party, and they don't want to do it with masks. And it's to the point where it's a little unfair to force people who don't want to do it to continue doing it, especially since hospitalization rates are down. COVID cases aren't down, but then we're not being affected as hard as we were previously. So it's bittersweet to see this go, but as a driver, I'm happy, and here's why, right? And I knew this would happen. Once the airlines got rid of it, I knew Uber would do it, and I knew that after Uber would do it, Lyft would follow suit, because Lyft is just a copycat. So Uber and Lyft dropped mask requirements for riders and for drivers. Takes effect Tuesday? What is today? Today's Wednesday, or is it Tuesday? I think I'm pretty sure today is, at least lose track, man. Today's Tuesday. So as of today, this is all true. So ride-hailing giants Uber and Lyft lifted mask requirements in their vehicles on Tuesday. The move comes one day after a federal judge in Florida struck down the Biden administration's mask mandate for planes, trains, buses, and other public transportation. A little more on that, right? So the CDC set the requirements, and the judge found that the CDC doesn't have the authority to force airports to do something. They can really technically only make recommendations on what these government bodies should do. So I do agree that there are no current laws that allow the CDC to have control over things like that. Now, should a law like that exist? I don't know. Not what we're here to discuss. So Uber updated its policy early Tuesday, noting that the CDC still recommends wearing a mask if an individual has personal risk factors or if the person lives in an area with high transmission of COVID-19. Remember, many people still feel safer wearing a mask because of personal or family health situations, so please be respectful of their preferences. Now, if you have an issue with someone wearing a mask, you're an idiot. I don't understand why you would have an issue with that. But if you have an issue with someone else not wearing their mask, it's leaning towards the fact that you need to stay home. And that's the reality of where we're heading. Most cities have done away with their mask mandates. Even New York, who had one of the strictest laws, did away with their vaccination policy where they had to check your card for you to even go in a restaurant. Like, that's gone. So we're moving towards mask no more. That's where we're headed. And I'm curious to see how riders react to this. I'm going to be asking a lot of them tomorrow how they interpret this or how comfortable they are with it. But in my experience, most riders don't even want to wear their mask. They only have a mask because they have to wear it in Lyft or Uber. But in South Carolina, it's not required anywhere else you go. So it's going to be interesting to see how the landscape changes now that we don't have to wear masks. I'll probably still wear mine just because I want to be comforting to all of my passengers, and I don't want to risk getting negative reviews because I'm not wearing my mask and because of how fresh this news is. I'm going to give it time to settle in, time for people to realize what's happening, time for me to process their feedback because I'm a top driver on the platform and I don't want to lose that status. Because losing that status means you lose money. We're not here to lose money. Literally everything we do is to keep the money we make. All right, so next story. Inexpensive rideshare shuttle debuts this week in Buckhead. Buckhead is in Atlanta, for those of you who don't know. I know most people don't live in Atlanta, but looking at how big cities handle things gives us foresight into how things will spread in the future among all the different cities. So, and its previous iterations only stopped at a fixed points, but the new service operates very similar to Uber and Lyft. Commuters can download that's such a terrible name, the service app and type in their respective locations. Then the app dispatches a shuttle, one of four 12 to 14 passenger Mercedes-Benz Sprinter vans in their fleet. So those vans look similar to the Amazon vans, not quite, but they're very similar. It's still doing the rideshare experience, but it's taking more cars off the road. Livable Buckhead Executive Director Denise Starling told the AJC and 95.5 WSB. I don't know why radio stations have weird names like that. Another differentiator from the single car rideshare service is price. The technology is similar. We're going to be a lot cheaper, honestly. So what this looks like is we have a company coming together and saying, okay, in this specific area, during this specific time, we notice that there's a lot of people who need to get to work. We also notice that Uber and Lyft are not like the prime options because of the prices. It could be the prices or it could be because of availability. So we're seeing where Uber is partnering up with taxis. We're seeing where companies are trying to eat into the Uber pie. What that means for you as a driver, you have to pay attention to this because it's going to start affecting your pay. It may not be all at once, right? It may not be this year, but you have to understand that other companies are eating away at the rideshare pie. And I warn you guys about this because I firmly believe that rideshare should be a temporary thing, right? It could be a temporary thing for 2 to 3 years, but it needs to be something that helps you escape your current financial situation or better your current financial situation so that you can shift to something else in the future. Even I plan on doing that. So I'm always going to signal that to you guys. I'm always going to encourage you guys that, hey, rideshare is not a long-term plan. Not that it can't be, but that it shouldn't be, right? There's it's too easy for you to get kicked off the platform. It's too easy for something to shift to where you can no longer go and make this money. All right, so we'll move on to the next story. We don't want to linger here too long. So this one's just pretty. It was pretty interesting to me. Gas theft rings nab $140,000 in fuel. That's crazy. Absolutely insane. Wait till you guys hear how they've been doing it. Whew. All right, let's see. In a separate incident in Colorado last month, thieves allegedly stole roughly 5,000 gallons of gas, valued around $50,000 from a gas station. That's just one. According to news station KXAN, a video showed the suspects arriving at the station who pumped thousands of gallons of gas into tanks in the back of their vehicle without paying for it. The manager of the business said he believed a remote control was used to pull off the theft. On Thursday, law enforcement officials in Florida announced that fuel thieves had allegedly used a homemade device to steal $60,000 worth of gasoline from 2 gas stations, which saw the arrest of 6 people. So they actually got caught here. In another case in Florida, 4 men were arrested and accused of stealing more than 2,800 gallons worth of gas. Officials didn't say how much the value of the gas totaled, but it could have been worth tens of thousands of dollars given other police departments' estimates, right? According to CBS, Dallas Fort Worth, the owner of a Valero gas station, I had one of those here, said last month that thieves had stolen 6,000 gallons of diesel fuel worth over $23,000 from business. Like, apparently this is the thing that's been happening, right? Even though this is my first time reading about it, this is a thing that's been happening to the point where I'm not going to spoil it. So here's some ways in which they've been stealing the gas, right? That the cops think that this has been happening or it has been reported that it's been happening. They manipulate the security systems on pumps. For example, after prepaying a few dollars worth of gas, some offenders have learned how to keep the pump operating beyond the amount paid for. That's the one I need. If I was a criminal, that's the one that I would need. Posing as maintenance personnel and tapping a pump's metering system to release fuel. Interesting. That sounds like a little more Ocean's 11 type deal. Stealing directly from the underground tanks at service stations. This one is crazy. The driver positions a truck with a hole drilled in its floor over the tank, pries off the tank cover, inserts a pump that can gulp hundreds of gallons. This is highly dangerous because the absence of an effective vapor recovery system means that one small spark could ignite a blaze. Yo, have you guys ever watched Breaking Bad? Now, I don't like giving out spoilers, but there's a scene just like this, and it's crazy. It's insane that, hey, maybe they were inspired from the movie. Who knows? But I would love to see this happening. I wouldn't want to be there in case a fire starts, but definitely some creative things. Using a van or other large vehicle to shield a smaller vehicle from the attendant's view, several gallons of fuel are siphoned from the gas pump into smaller vehicle tanks. The pump meter is reset and then fueling is completed. The offender then pays for the small amount registered on the meter. Working as a pair, one offender distracts the attendant through purchase or conversation, while his or her accomplice at the pump fills the vehicles and drives away. I'm gonna be real with you, right? I used to work at a gas station, and if someone was doing one of these things, I wouldn't even have known. I was never one taught to look for this, and then 2, I just assumed that the machines wouldn't allow people to steal from it, but I guess humans can find a way with machinery, especially if they worked in the field, they would be familiar with how to do this. So it's interesting. Look out for it. I might even go to a couple gas stations, see what they have to say, see if they've ever had this happen to them. But we've lived in this story too long. We can move forward. So people who don't need to steal gas, right, are going to be Tesla owners. So we're gonna talk about Tesla owners for a little bit. And the first thing I want to talk about, because it relates to rideshare, our jobs, and how much we get paid, Tesla's full self-driving beta will become available to all paying Americans and Canadians. Now, if you didn't know, something like 8 years ago, Elon Musk put out his vision for what he wanted to accomplish within the next couple of years, and he's hit majority of them. The only one that's really left is creating cars that can make money while you're at home, right? So let's say I go out and I buy a Tesla. He wants my Tesla to be able by itself with no one sitting in it, go and pick up passengers and take the passengers to their destination to make me money passively while I sit on my couch. Right? That's the last thing that he planned that he needs to accomplish. And this is another step towards that. And if you haven't realized it, that's what we do as Uber and Lyft drivers. So as Uber and Lyft drivers, we need to be afraid of this and we need to stop ignoring this. I have a lot of conversations with people on the Uber and Lyft Facebook groups, and they think that self-driving is so far away. I think it's happening within the next 5 years or possibly sooner. We already have Waymo in California, which is owned by Google, which is currently, at this time, you can go and get the Waymo app and have a car without a human driver pick you up and take you to your destination. I'm not making this stuff up. This stuff exists. We need to be aware of it because, again, rideshare is not a long-term career. Elon Musk is on record saying that full self-driving beta feature will be an option to buy for every Tesla owner in the US or Canada later this year. Currently, not only do North American Tesla drivers need to pay the $12,000 for the full self-driving software, but they also have to have a 99 out of 100 safety score to qualify. I don't know why this story doesn't mention it, but you can pay $250 a month to use the service, and you can turn it on or off every month. That's the option I would do. $12,000 is a lot for full self-driving. While opening Tesla's first European Gigafactory in Germany, Elon Musk let slip that electric car makers' full self-driving beta mode will be hitting Canada by the end of the week. The FSD Beta 10.1.1 version indeed rolled out there on March 27th, making its first official non-US cameo. While Canada is the first country outside of the US where Tesla's full self-driving beta is available to try out, it's only for select drivers with a stellar 99% or 100% safety score, as Tesla puts it when it anoints this or that owner for autonomous driving. Starting in 2022, the FSD autonomous driving feature will be available to all Americans and Canadians regardless of their safety score. That's big. That's big. And the reason that's big is because Tesla's use what we call machine learning. Machine learning learns by having more data fed to it, right? So the more cars that are out there with full self-driving beta is the more they'll be able to communicate with each other and say, okay, on Prince Street, there is a issue with like construction or something. So one car is gonna take all that data, feed that data to all the other cars and figure out how to improve it. That's a gist of how machine learning works. And now that full self-driving is going to be available to all Americans and all Canadians, the amount of information those cars are going to receive is going to be exponential. Like it's going to get smarter faster and it's going to get better quicker. So people thinking that this is 5 years away, I don't know. It could be sooner than that. It could be sooner than that. The Tesla Autopilot team and AI team has done an incredible job building real-world AI, and we're able to go wide beta for all self-driving customers in North America this year, and that's crazy. I'm here for it. I'm so here for it. I'm so here for getting a Tesla and having it make me money while I sit on my couch. That's what we're here about. So like, keep in mind, right? You guys need to start saving up for Teslas. You guys got to start saving up for Teslas, but not to do Lyft or Uber. They're not good cars to Lyft or Uber, so don't get one for that. All right, so in other Tesla news, I'm a fan of Tesla, not a fan of this decision. Tesla goes full Apple and stops delivering cars with included charging hardware now sold separately. Right? So the Tesla cars will come with this mobile kit where it helps you to convert a normal outlet into a medium or slow charger. So while it's deemed a mobile kit, the problem is if you don't pay to have a specific Tesla charger in your house, this is how you're gonna have to charge your car. Tesla changed its long-standing policy to deliver every vehicle with a mobile charging cable, and instead, it started selling them separately for $400 for level 2 charging and $275 for level 1. This move is reminiscent of Apple removing the included USB charging brick with the iPhone, which Samsung has been doing too. Not a fan. They claim it's to save the world. It's just to save their pockets. Let's be real. Here's one update. Tesla CEO Elon Musk says Tesla will reduce the price by $75 off the currently out-of-stock mobile charger in response to the backlash. That's crazy, right? Here you're saying that you're not going to give this with your cars anymore. And if you don't have it, guess what? We're sold out. Update 2. According to Tesla's chat, unless you've already taken delivery, mobile chargers are now no longer included, even though they were at the time of purchase. There's been an update to that. So update 3, when you make bad consumer-focused decisions, this, you have to respond quickly because then you realize how bad of a decision it was. Tesla's internal communication now says that all deliveries for the next several weeks will come with mobile connectors included. Oh, that's unfortunate. My audio is not working correctly. My music is too loud. That's unfortunate, guys. I appreciate the feedback. I'm going to keep going. And then I'm going to have to stop the stream later to figure it out. There's no way for me to figure it out while I'm here. So that's super unfortunate. But I appreciate it, Audra. I appreciate it, SH, for giving me the update. Madness, yeah, I'll be taking passengers with no mask. I'm cool with that. In fact, don't tell Lyft or Uber. I've been doing that already. So that's what it is. Go ahead and turn this music off. All right, so this is what the mobile connector looks like. The Tesla mobile connector compact bundle, but it doesn't look good. I would be really unhappy if I ordered a Tesla and I wasn't able to get this with it. I'm not a fan of like having to buy things after I go and get something. All right, so this one's interesting. I gotta refresh the page here. I have a little dark humor in me. I'm not even gonna lie. And this one, I chuckle darkly in with this one. Man dies after being trapped in California car wash machinery. Now, to the best of my knowledge, no one else was involved other than this man. A man was killed after he became pinned between his vehicle and the machinery at a Southern California automatic car wash, authorities said Saturday. The 56-year-old was trapped outside his Scion hatchback in the Pearl Car Wash, a self-service establishment, at about 11:44 p.m. on Friday. So it's the person who found this man pinned between his car and the machinery. They heard an alarm going off from the car wash. There's some video of it here somewhere. And so they went and checked it out. And they found him there. The police came and they had to physically like push the car over in order to get him free. And the car wash, it doesn't have rails that pull your car along. You have to kind of drive at your own pace through it. So it's not clear to me or the police as to why this man stepped out of his car wash and how his car ended up pinning him against the machinery. So the next time you go to a car wash, just be careful. Don't let this happen to you. This is not the way I would want to go. Not at all. So here's an interesting one. Kindergartner took Jose Cuervo adult lemonade to school and shared it with his classmates. Man, if I was able to get this lit in kindergarten, it would have been a fun time. Would have been a fun time. A Michigan kindergartner brought Jose Cuervo tequila mixed drink to school and shared it with 4 other children last week, school officials told parents. Outraged parents were told that the child had brought the small plastic bottle to class at Grand River Academy in Livonia, nice name, Michigan on Thursday, according to NBC affiliate Local 4 News. A school spokesperson later described the beverage as a pre-mixed single-serve alcoholic beverage that was marketed as adult lemonade. So at least it wasn't like hard liquor, and at least it was split up with his classmates. Parent Alexis Smith told the station she was stunned when the school called to tell her that her daughter had been given alcohol. I'm thinking to myself, like, how would I respond to this? What would I say? I think my first response would be to laugh. I think if it's not my kid that brought the alcohol, my first response would be to laugh. My wife would probably be upset with me. But if it was my child that brought it to school, yeah, I'd feel some type of way. I'd hate to be the parent of that kid, and I hope to God this never happens. So many thoughts were running through my mind, like, what if it was open before the girl brought it to school? How much was in it? And that's very valid. Concern. I asked her, like, is my daughter okay? Smith added. The teacher said she's right there and she looks okay, and then I said, okay, well, how much did she drink? I feel bad for the teacher. I would hate to have to be the person to make this phone call to the parents, like, hey, um, your kid had some alcohol. We didn't give it to them. Some other kid did. Like, it's just not a good situation for anyone involved. But I think is absolutely hilarious. Smith said the school could not give her an answer. She added that her daughter will not be returning to the school. Mm, I think that's too far. I get it. Like, it's hard for one teacher to pay attention to all the students and then to also not assume that, like, I don't expect a teacher to have to check everyone's drink. They have to now, but I wouldn't have expected that. I wouldn't, as a parent. This just seems like a slip of the system, right? It's something that happened that's unusual. Kids can be sneaky. Parents need to pay attention, but you can't always pay attention because life happens. And this scenario where life happens. Okay, what are you gonna do to make sure it never happens again? Okay, good. That's that would be my take on it. But maybe I'm too lax. I don't currently have a child, so maybe when I do have a child, my opinion on this might change. My daughter takes medicine. First off, no kid should be drinking. No shit. And you and just the shock itself, it burns. Like, how do you feel like anything could have happened? Which is true. A school spokesperson later issued a statement, according to Local News 4, that said, we understand our parents' fears and frustrations. A student did bring a pre-mixed single-serve alcoholic beverage that was marketed as adult lemonade school. Let's look it up. I've never heard of this alcohol drink before. It's called adult lemonade. Let's see what we get. This is Jose Cuervo. I don't know how to spell that. Okay. Okay, so it's the big bottle, sure. Let me put myself on the other side of the screen. Hold on, guys. Okay, so we have the big bottle here. Let's check it out. Welcome to our website. Enter I am older than 21. Okay, so I've had these little premixes before. They're very weak. So thankfully for the children, it's very weak. Let's see if we can find how much alcohol is in it. It should be on the label. So it's damn, it's hard to see. I know you guys can't see it if I can't see it. Yeah, here we go. Put myself back on the other side. So it's looks like, damn, it's hard. It's hard to see it with the curve. So it's 19.9 proof. That looks like 9.95% by volume, which one, yeah, it's sure it's pretty weak. But these are little children, so it's probably gonna hit them different than how I would imagine it will. Unfortunate situation. Hope they get it resolved. We're moving on. So this one here, not a fan of this one. So there's a TikToker who is calling out Square cash registers for forcing customers into tipping. I found that a lot of people, they tend to absolve themselves of their own financial decisions, and I think this is one of them. However, there are a lot of people who believe that there are certain businesses that utilize this feature that puts customers in uncomfortable positions, making them feel like they have to tip after being presented with this option to do so. Many have said things along the lines of, once I see an iPad at the register, I know I'm about to tip for something I've never tipped for in my life. Now here's the TikTok that this is the one it's about.
That I've never tipped for before in my life.
I just turned the volume on, so I'll run that back for you guys.
Anytime I go somewhere with a Square cash register, I know I'm about to tip for something that I've never tipped for before in my life.
I don't know who else feels that way. Okay, I'm gonna call it a day. I'm gonna figure out my audio issues, and we'll get back to it tomorrow. I do apologize. Thank you guys for watching though. I do appreciate it, but I'm gonna